In this video, we want to configure one router, two switch, two PCs network topology where the two different LANs are connected through the router. So first we take one router, then we take the two switches, and then we take the two PC. Okay, now we rename it for better understanding purpose. Okay, so as you can see, I have renamed all the components here, and now I have switch S1 in the left side of a router R1, switch S2 as a right hand side of a router R1. The PC2 should be connected with the S2 and PC1 should be connected with the S1. Okay, now let's connect the PC1 to S1 switch. In the same way, we connect the PC2 to S2. Now we connect the S1 and S2 with the router R1. Okay, now in this topology, as you can see, there is one router, two switches and two PC. Now we want to create one network on a left hand side of a router R1 and one network in the right hand side of a router R1. Okay, so as you can see, now I have the two networks. One is indicated in a green color, one is indicated into the yellow color. I just give the network ID. Okay, so this is my networks. On a left hand side of a router R1, I will have the 192.168.10.0/24 network, and in the right side I have the 10.0.0./8 network. Okay, now let's say I want to provide the IP addresses to PC1 and PC2. So to PC1, I give the IP address 192.168.10.10 from this network, and to PC2 10.0.0.10 from this network. So to give the PC1 IP address this, we have to go to the desktop IP configuration, and here 192.168.10.10, and to PC2 10.0.0.10. Okay, so now PC1 and PC2 both will have the IP addresses. Now next we want to connect the PC1 with the router R1 and PC2 with the router R1. So here, as you can see, the router R1 is connected with the Giga Ethernet 00 port with the left hand side network, and with Giga Ethernet 01 port with the right hand side network. To connect both the PCs with the router R1, it is necessary that we have to provide the default gateway to PC1 and PC2. Okay, for providing the address to the default gateway, I use the first address of this network, which is 192.168.10.1, and here the first address of this network, which is 10.0.0.1. Now I give default gateway address to the PC1. Default gateway is here. It is 192.168.10.1, and in PC2 it is 10.0.0.1. So now PC1 and PC2 will have the IP addresses as well as the default gateway. So now there is only one thing is remaining, and that is how we can give this IP address, default gateway IP address, to this interface of R1 in a left hand side, and default gateway 10.0.0.1 to the right hand side interface of the router. So to do that, what we have to do, we have to click on router R1. You can go to the CLI mode. Here, when you open the CLI mode, as you are at the initial configuration dialog of the router, first you give no, then the first command would be enable, then you go to the global configuration with the conf t. Now in global configuration, you have to first identify the interface. So interface in the left hand side is Giga Ethernet 00. So left hand side we have the interface Giga Ethernet 00. now we have to provide the IP address of a default gateway, which is 192.168.10.1 with the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0. Okay, now we have to open the port with command no shutdown. So as you give the command no shutdown, as you can see here, your port will be turned green from red. So we can consider now the Giga Ethernet interface is configured by the router, and okay, now the same treatment we have to provide to the Giga Ethernet 01. So again we go to the global configuration. Now we select the right hand side Giga Ethernet 01, and the IP address is 10.0.0.1 and subnet is 255.0.0.0. IP address is 10.0.0.1 and subnet is 255.0.0.0, and then no shutdown to open the port. Okay, now as you can see, both the ports are turned green. Okay, so I think that's it to connect the two different networks. Now let's try to ping the PC1 from PC2 or PC2 from PC1. So let's say now I try to ping PC2. So I go to the command prompt. The IP address of PC2 is 10.0.0.10. So in ping I give 10.0.0.10. Initially it will take some time, but after that, as you can see, now we are able to contact the PC on the other side of a network. So it means that we can access PC2 from PC1. Now we try to access PC1 from PC2. So I ping 192.168.10.10. Yes, so both the PCs are now communicating with each other, right? So that's it. What you can learn from this video is router R1 is configured. Then and then both the sides of a network are able to communicate. If you are not configuring the router R1, then the communication between these two networks are not possible. For that, it is mandatory that we configure the router R1.